Welcome to Tech Talk with AFO. Tech Talk with AFO is where I have conversation around technology. Technology is what I discuss end to end. And what is driving this for me is Nigeria and Africa. I want Nigeria and Africa to have a seat when it comes to tech globally. You know, if you speak technology, I don't want it to be just about Indians and Chinese and Americans that are making waves. Nigeria, Africa should also have a seat on the table. And beyond that, I also, in my own little way, try to support the less privileged individuals as much as I can, right? I was having a conversation with one of my guests last week. I said, what is referred to as end of life in America is the beginning of life in Nigeria. So what am I trying to do? All those used computers that you guys don't want again in the US, can you please just give it to me? I have kids that need it so badly. There was a news I saw last week before I introduced my special guest, my tech actor of the day. I saw a news last week, and this is really, coming to me as a surprise. As a matter of fact, what this is doing to me now is to make it obvious that what I'm doing is even more needed. You won't believe this, Deepankar, that 7% is the total number of kids, looking at the youth population of 15 to 25. 7% of them is what have access to ICT, meaning computer education. 7% of Nigerian youth population aged 15 to 25. That's a UNICEF report. And I've experienced this firsthand myself, Deepankar. I've been to different schools. I've been going from schools to schools in Lagos. And it will shock you to know that most of the schools that I visited, some of them are private. If you go to my YouTube channel, some of the schools I visited are private schools. And it will surprise you that they don't have computer system. You understand? So this is a major concern for me, and this is part of what is driving me. Now, this particular episode is the episode where I celebrate tech actors, guys that are doing wonders. And today I'm bringing a Nigerian Indian or Indian Nigerian. Is facially Indian, but Nigerian by heart. My guy, Deepankar. Deepankar, you have the floor. I want you to come in before I show you a surprise I have for you.
Thanks a lot, Afo. I'm super excited to be part of this, and kudos on your journey. Looking forward to speak and share more.
Oh, okay. So Deepankar, I tried to I went to your LinkedIn page. I dug some information about you, and I tried to put something together. This is me, Afo, introducing Deepankar. Hold on a second, let me share my screen for you to see what I have about Deepankar.
Deepankar Rustagi stands out as a visionary in the African tech landscape, having founded and led Omnibiz, a company that is pioneering the transformation of Africa's retail supply chain through innovative technology. Deepankar, originally from Delhi and now deeply embedded in Lagos, he has cultivated a unique blend of expertise and local insights, driving significant advancement in the Nigerian FMCG and tech industries. His entrepreneurial journey is marked by the impressive growth of Omnibiz, which under his leadership has secured substantial funding. Most notably is a 15 million pre-Series A funding. This funding highlights the strong investors' confidence in a strategic vision to enhance retail operations across Africa through digital solutions that optimize supply chain efficiency and retailer profitability.
The supply chain in Africa has existed for years, but it is fragmented and there are gaps because of which there is no visibility of movement of goods. There are different infrastructures that exist in pockets but don't have connectivity with one another, like warehousing and logistics don't speak to each other, manufacturers and retailers don't have visibility of each other. So integrating digital supply chain across essential sectors is a huge, important area that needs to grow for the economies to grow. Overall, the consumption in Africa will grow. For the growth of consumption, the retail needs to grow. To empower retail, a strong supply chain needs to be backed, and different players across the ecosystem who recognize the importance of technology, innovation in growing the supply chain need to come together to empower it. It cannot be done by one company coming into Africa. It has to be done by building the infrastructure collectively to support the growth of the business. And I think in 2024 and the years to come, companies have taken the initiative to partner and scale that infrastructure.
Deepankar's innovative approach at Omnibiz includes the introduction of the My Store app, a tool that aids retailers in managing inventory and customers while offering buy now, pay later services. This app is part of his broader strategy to empower over 300,000 retailers by improving their sales processes and operational capabilities, which in turn stimulates growth and sustainability within the Africa retail market. Omnibiz, under the leadership of Deepankar, is making waves in Africa's business landscape with remarkable growth rates in the prestigious Africa's Fastest Growing Company 2024 ranking. As highlighted by the Financial Times and Statista, Omnibiz clinched the top spot in the e-commerce sector with an extraordinary growth rate of an average of 772% year-on-year since 2019. Beyond his business achievements, Deepankar is an active member of several esteemed organizations. He is a member of Endeavor Networks, a member of Forbes Councils, a member of Young Presidents Organizations.
My name is Deepankar, founder of VConnect Global Services, based in Nigeria. The news that we have to announce here is we are rolling out VConnect platform in Ghana. This has really helped us in scaling up. We have enabled users from Ghana to add businesses and grow the platform VConnect. So the key thing is now the platform will be available in more Anglophone countries, and to start with, we are rolling it out in Ghana. The Africa Tech Summit, I mean, from the previous event that you had, it was a great platform where good networking happened and got to meet the right people. So there were investors, there were entrepreneurs. So we chose to come and represent our brand here.
Deepankar also brings a strong educational foundation to his work, having participated in Stanford Seed Transformational Program, a program designed to inspire business leaders in developing economies to lead their ventures to greater heights through innovation and effective management practices. Deepankar Rustagi's commitment to revolutionizing retail through technology not only drives economic growth, but also creates a more inclusive and efficient market in Africa. His work exemplifies the transformative power of combining entrepreneurial spirit with technological innovation, making him a true leader in his field. Our well-deserved Tech Actor of the Week. Join me in celebrating this amazing guy with his contribution and ongoing impact in reshaping the future of retail in Africa. Deepankar Rustagi.
Yes, my dear friend, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Yeah,
That's me introducing my friend to my friend.
Thank you, Afo. I really appreciate it.
Okay. So the VConnect part of the video, it was deliberate. It was deliberate because I want our conversation to start on that tone.
Sure.
I read somewhere that successful entrepreneurs are failures, right? If you've never failed as an entrepreneur, then you're not an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
You know, so I want our conversation to start on the note of failure. Deepankar, what happened to VConnect? VConnect was the pride of Nigeria, Africa. Like, I was really so happy to be associated with VConnect. VConnect gave me like a lot of attention. We partnered on several occasions. What happened? How did it fail?
Yeah. So I think VConnect is an important service that businesses in Nigeria still need. But VConnect started in 2011. And at that point in time, it was slightly ahead of the curve. Payments were not as penetrated as they are. Digital payments were not as penetrated as they are today. And because of which manually collecting
funds or fees from the small and medium scale businesses became a challenge for us. That is why we shut that down, learned from the experiences, and used those experiences in scaling and creating impact in a different segment with small and medium scale businesses.
Okay, so I mean, the part I feel I really want you to eat on. Okay, so is it that you woke up a day and you said we're shutting down VConnect? How did you come to that conclusion? Looking at the amount that went into putting the business together, these are multi-million dollars, bro.
Yeah, so it's not very easy for an entrepreneur to digest failure. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort in understanding what is working and what is not. We tried to pivot a couple of times, but almost at all times we realized that non-digitization of payments would lead into higher costs for this business. And then when we went out of funds, we decided that it is time for us to find a better way to add value to the ecosystem rather than continuing on the VConnect path. It was a very tough decision, personally, even for the team. But yeah, we took that decision. It took a lot of time for us to decide.
Wow, that's a tough one, and I can imagine, your state of mind having that conversation with the team directly. So let's take it back to where we originally should have started. Who is Deepankar? Why Nigeria? The journey from Delhi to Nigeria, how did it happen? I remember in one of our conversations, you said you're more Nigerian than Afo. So I want to hear from you directly now.
Yeah, so it started long back, Afo. I came to Nigeria in 94, almost 30 years back. And I came as a kid. My dad moved here. He was a textile engineer. And he took up an opportunity with a textile manufacturing outfit in Nigeria and lived here for 7 to 8 years before going back to pursue my further studies. So that's how I came to Nigeria, got introduced to Nigeria. And after my studies and working in India for 3 years, got an opportunity in Nigeria again and knew this is where I belong. This is where I want to create a difference. Came back.
So, for you to have your secondary school in Nigeria, it shows you are even more Nigerian than some of us, more than, about 30 years now. Wow. When are you celebrating your 30th anniversary in Nigeria?
We should do that soon. We should catch up over drinks.
All right. So still on your early years, so how did it get to the point of setting up a business? You got an opportunity in Nigeria, yes, you got a job, but when did that entrepreneurial drive, when did you come to that decision that I'm starting something in Nigeria? What did you see?
I think unlike majority of the entrepreneurs, I never knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. We reached this stage while working for one of the large FMCG companies, accessing to information, finding basic services, finding an hospital or an eye clinic was very tough. And if you searched online on Google for basic services, it would take you to a smaller place called Lagos in Portugal. And that's when I realized, looking at similar search results in other parts of the world, that there is a huge opportunity digitization was taking in, that if we create a platform which can be used by all service providers, all users to connect with the right businesses, it would have great opportunities. So I didn't know of valuations. I didn't want to create $1 billion company. I just wanted to fix a problem. And that's how I entered into it. Absolutely simple as that.
I would acknowledge that VConnect played a major role in getting a lot of businesses in the internet space. I remember when your team moved around. I still remember very well when you guys did a storm in TBS. Back then, when my office was still at TBS, you were going from store to store. You had the red shirts, knocking on doors, help people set up their website, your address, put it on Google and all of that. That's a lot of work. Well done, kudos to you.
Thank you.
I don't think there's any way anybody will talk about penetration 4 Nigerian businesses without reference to someone like you. All right. So this question I want to ask now is the cultural difference. So this is the banker, Indian guy, brown, right? The accent is different, cultural is different. So how difficult was it to do business in Nigeria I mean, is it an advantage to be an Indian running business in Nigeria or the other way around? I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think I'll share one thing very interesting about Indians and Nigerians. We have various aspects of our culture that are different, but value system in our cultures between Nigeria and India is very similar. So value for family, respect for family, decision-taking structure in your mind. I think importance for education and the entire hustle of making it successful is something very common. You know, both Nigeria and India have a very large population. Both are developing countries. It's difficult to make money and prove yourself as successful. So I think the basic value system is very similar. But one thing which is very strong about Nigeria and glares out at anyone who is visiting Nigeria for the first time is the warmth that people welcome that Nigerians welcome their visitors with. There is a strong sense of energy, positive energy, and warmth that makes people believe in Nigeria and makes people accept Nigeria as their own. So I think that's what I loved about Nigeria. And the second part of the challenges faced as an entrepreneur, Indian entrepreneur in Nigeria, I would say there are pros and cons. Today, the entrepreneurship ecosystem has evolved significantly, especially in the startup side. So you are accepted irrespective of your nationality. I would say when I started, it was looked upon as, why is an Indian running a company in Nigeria? And why can't a Nigerian do that? And I agree. I believe equal opportunity is important, but entrepreneurship does not see nationality. It sees solutions, it sees bringing together of ideas, and it sees the approach of problem solving in the long term. So I think today it's a much more cohesive environment for global entrepreneurs to play a role in sub-Saharan Africa, and the ecosystem has evolved. So I would say today it's much better for anyone to come in from anywhere and do startup in Nigeria.
Oh, yes. So now let's come back to the baby that Omnibiz is about now, right? Firstly, let me first acknowledge what you guys just achieved, right? It is really indeed remarkable. Congratulations on being selected and celebrated as the fastest growing business in Africa, not even Nigeria, in Africa. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Recognized by Financial Times. Wow, that's indeed remarkable. I'm sure every member of Stanford Seed will be exceptionally happy about this news. I'm going to share it on the group.
Absolutely.
Right? So talking about Omnibiz, what you guys are about, my tech actor last, I think 2 weeks ago, interestingly, is also in the supply chain business, right? I find it interesting that your business sense has always been about identifying a problem, you know, and interestingly, supply chain, I mean, being a retailer growing up, I really understand the problem you're trying to solve, because I know when I go to a Reco market with my mom, right, it's always an issue to get what's it called, our stock replenished. The constraint of replenishment, funding, and all of that is always a problem, you know. So when I was looking at your business model, I said, how did the banker beat me to this? I know this problem too. How come I didn't solve it? So tell us about Omnibiz and what informed it.
Yeah, so our business, Omnibiz, is part of a group called Omni Retail, which is how our company is referred. It's solving a problem for the value chain of retail. So, you know, many people ask about the growth of Africa. You know, sub-Saharan Africa is growing at the fastest pace in terms of population. And we know by 2050, one of the largest population bases in the world, and for sure the youngest population base. In such a scenario, when everyone is going to eat and grow, how do you service essential goods? Today, if you're in Lagos, you can access to larger number of essential goods, like you mentioned before. You can go to Okiaran market, Mushin market, but as you go away, if you go to Sokoto, Minna, Suleja, in Calabar, as you move away from the towns, it's difficult for the retailers to source the goods, to replenish the inventory, like you mentioned. We saw this problem and we said it cannot be solved in isolation. To solve this problem, we need to digitize the entire value chain of retail distribution. And we brought the different players onto a single platform. We brought the manufacturers, the distributors, the logistics providers, and the retailers onto a single platform where we see what products are the manufacturer making, what stocks are available at the point of distributor in each city, what are the different logistics providers available in which area. So we don't take a logistics provider from Ikorodu to Lekki to service the order, because every part of Nigeria is unique in its own way. So to fulfill an order effectively, you need a person from Port Harcourt to solve the problem for Port Harcourt. And then finally, we onboard the retailers. We see their demands are very dynamic, their procurement plans. What a retailer in Ikorodu buys is very different because of the household income in that area is very different from what a person in Ota buys and what a person in VI buys. So we understand their purchase patterns and then help them place convenient orders onto the system, which are then redirected to the distributors. So by bringing everyone onto the same page, we solve the problem of visibility in the chain and seamless procurement could be done. In this process, we also solved the problem which was less visible to a lot of people. These different stakeholders were not financially included. So, majority of the transactions that we do in our country at the point of sale are cash. So most retailers don't open bank accounts or don't have business bank accounts. And because of which they don't have creditworthiness, and they don't have transactions registered, and they never access to larger loans or working capital loans at the right prices. They end up suffering with loans from loan sharks. So we enabled them to access a wallet with 14 different institutions, from the GT banks to the Stanbic, from Paga to Flutterwave or Moneypoint, all in one place. So they log on, verify themselves, and have access to receiving payments from their customers and making payments to their suppliers, enabling them to access working capital to grow their business and procure efficiently. Yeah, that's what pretty much we did.
Wow. So Omnibiz now, you operate outside Lagos or just in Lagos for now? How far have you gone?
Yeah, so we are now in 3 countries. We're in Nigeria, Ghana, and Ivory Coast. We started only from Lagos, and within Nigeria, we operate in 12 different cities. We still have a long way to capture a larger part of Nigeria, but I think majority of the popular cities from the north to the south, we are present.
So for all the cities that you operate from, you beyond the fact that you operate there, you have like your warehouse that handles the distribution for you.
Absolutely. So how we built it, AFO, was instead of us managing all the warehouses or instead of us managing all the fleet, we built it like a franchise model where those distributors who knew warehousing, who wanted to build a digital revenue business for themselves, onboarded onto our platform and became our warehousing partners. So we don't own any of the warehouses. We have partners who own and operate our warehouses efficiently in different locations.
Yeah, sometimes when you read things in the news, you're not sure the information is as it is. So as of today, what are you doing in volume? Let me hear from Deepankar directly. What are you doing in volume? Like, you started in the middle of COVID. Where are you now?
So we have scaled significantly. So in terms of Naira, today within Nigeria, we're doing a little over 12 billion Naira on a monthly basis. And this enables us to service thousands of retailers across the 12 cities we operate in Nigeria.
Wow. Your investors, I saw one of your investors posts, one of your, what's the name of that company again? They were so proud of your achievements. Wow, that this is a good investment, not one of those investments. So what I mean, I want to take it back to VConnect. Now, the investors that you had in VConnect, I mean, were you like did you get them on board on Omnibiz? And if you did, were they really ready to come with you on Omnibiz, particularly when they knew VConnect was a failure?
Yeah, so most of the investors in VConnect had written off their share. So I would say they saw us failing and not growing the revenue as we had anticipated when they invested the money. But to clear our conscience as the team, as the founding member, we gave equity in Omni Retail to the members who invested in VConnect. And it gives me pleasure and it gives me peace. So I can sleep comfortably that I haven't sank somebody's money. Today, when they see how Omni Retail is doing, they feel excited, and hopefully we have replenished their confidence in us and our business.
Yeah, there's something I want to pick out in what you just said now, right? And I want you to speak to it, because any startup or any entrepreneur, like, is something they must take very seriously. Integrity, right? You took money from people, and you failed on that particular venture. But because of who the banker is, your value, you understood the fact that these people will still continue with me on the journey. And that's why, I mean, that's what you have today working for you, and probably would even open more doors. So talking about series, what series are you now?
So we are, it's interesting. Some people say you should define it by the size. Some people say, so structurally we are between series A or series B. From a volume standpoint, where we stand today, we should be raising our series B very soon.
Very soon. So combine, how much have you raised?
We haven't raised a lot of capital to do this. So we've been very efficient in utilizing capital. We've raised $12 million in equity and approximately $10 million in debt.
In debt. Oh, okay. So it's a combination of both equity and debt, right? Are you guys close to break even yet, or you guys are still in the phase of growing?
No, I think that's something we are very proud of. Last year, November, we announced our EBIT profitability. And we were the first startup in this space, in the B2B commerce space, specifically because B2B commerce, FMCG has low margins. So we were the first players to announce profitability in this space. So we're not burning investors' money for growth.
So Deepankar, I have $100,000. Like I really want to come on board, bro. Help your guy.
Absolutely, bro. Anything for you. So we will talk offline and we will see how we can place it.
So guys, if you have any idle fund, just like me, right, we need to really get on board Omnibiz. I don't want your story to be similar to those that had the opportunity of investing in Apple when Apple was still, Facebook was still a baby, when Apple was still a baby. Now Omnibiz opportunity is there, Series B is coming. Let's get on board as quickly as we can. Okay, so you've expanded to Ivory Coast, Ghana, which other markets?
We've expanded to Ivory Coast and Ghana only for now. But so our focus is West Africa.
Your focus is West Africa. Your biggest market obviously is Nigeria, right?
By far.
By far, right. Okay. So you're focused on West Africa, meaning would expect you to also be in Benin, Togo, Cameroon, possibly at some point.
So we're looking at Senegal, Cameroon, looking for the right partners in these locations, looking for the right acquisitions in these locations, so we can scale and provide the value that we have created in the technology and distribute the FMCG products as efficiently in these markets as well.
These days, particularly when you are raising capital, I mean, most investors, they are interested in fintech, they are interested in AI, right? I mean, the presentation of your own business, what was it presented as? Was it a fintech business, or you went out to say, you know what, I'm doing a kind of VConnect type of business, or what got you the funding that got you started? What was the hook?
Yeah, so our business is actually a retail infrastructure business. where we are building the infrastructure to grow the overall retail. We started the business in solving the fulfillment problem. And then as we solved the fulfillment problem and we saw adoption, we saw retention of the customers, we realized that we need to solve the payment problem. So we would say in the retail infrastructure play, we solved the B2B commerce problem first and then onboarded the embedded fintech. Yeah, the future investors, both fintech investors and commerce investors, are interested in us. But at the earlier stage, we worked with those investors who saw the opportunity in the B2B commerce play.
Oh, okay. So now talking about the FMCG that you work with, okay, you obviously giving them access to markets that they never had before. They have probably not as efficient as you're doing it now. I mean, do you guys have there been any opportunity of getting them on board from an investor's standpoint?
Yeah, we really appreciate the value that strategic investors bring in, because they understand the depth of the business and they have operated in these markets for decades. So we have 2 strategic investors on board today, and we have interest from various strategic investors. None of our lead investors is a strategic, because you also want to be careful that you don't get over aligned with one strategic investor and go in one direction. We want to be a partner agnostic player to service our retailers in the most efficient manner. So yeah, we've got interest from strategics and we continue to get more and like that.
So I'm trying to understand your business model, like you are protected from, you're not exposed to Forex fluctuation. Like the challenge of most entrepreneurs in Nigeria now is the fact that the dollar is this amount today, tomorrow is that amount. That doesn't bother you in any shape or form.
No, I'll be surprised if any business in Nigeria says the dollar doesn't bother them. I think there will be very less of them. But majority of our business, majority of our expenses are in Naira, and our dependence on dollar expenses is negligible. So it does have an impact on us. It has an impact on the entire market, because as dollar changes, the currency valuation changes, the prices of the products change, retail ordering patterns change, people move from more expensive products to lesser and more economical products. So I would say there are a lot of impacts in our business, but people got to eat, people got to take bath. So our business, the demand cycle doesn't change drastically. Retailers still continue to order. So the shop will not be empty, but only the percentage of premium products in the shop reduced drastically. So that's how we see the impact of dollars on our segment.
So can we talk about challenges like, if you can really particularly for entrepreneurs that are also watching, that would see this conversation between us, what are those challenges that you face from the point of starting operation, raising capital, and up till now that you'd like to share for people to learn from? I would love if I can get 3 from you.
Yeah, I would say the challenges, the major ones would be, the most important thing is identifying the right unit economics. So if you focus a lot on scaling your business at an early stage and defocus from the unit economics at an early stage, you end up scaling, but you end up scaling a problem rather than a solution. So I would suggest to all the entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs who are moving in this direction, that it's not about scaling as fast as you can. It's about understanding what are you scaling. Have you found the solution that you want to scale? Very interesting part is in the scaling journey, majority of the businesses ignore how you're going to scale the people. And in the industry that we are in, because it's a digitization problem that we are solving, educating people, training people in the journey is as instrumental as growing the technology. Yeah, and third bit is understand the importance of the right form of capital for your business. what exposure should you have on equity and what exposure you should have on debt. There are a large number of businesses who raised a lot of equity and used it to buy inventory or to buy fixed assets, which they could have raised debt for in local currency, and their businesses would be hedged. So we have independence. Majority of the vehicles that we buy are imported or assembled. So it is important to understand what form of capital are you investing in what growth journey. So it should be instrumental. Equity is invested in genuine growth, and debt is invested in building capability and building capex.
Okay, so coming back from the fact that at some point you started something and it failed, and you're now on to something else that is doing very well and I believe will be very successful. So if Deepankar, you're in that situation of making an investment, from your experience, are you going to invest in a startup, or you go for someone like Deepankar that has experience already and knows how to run things? What would be your bet?
Yeah, no, I play a role in both. I would do 50-50. I would take half the money and invest in another Deepankar or in another AFO, and where we are sure that the growth percentage can be significant, but I would invest in the person more than the model or more than the business, because I feel at the early stages, businesses change form and shape multiple times. And if you invest in the right person, it will give you value. And some part of the money, or 50% of the money, I would invest in more matured businesses so I can hedge the risk and continue to get some profitability.
Yeah. Now, so still on Omnibiz, right? This is still, I can still call Omnibiz still at day one. Like, you guys just started. You've not even, you've not scratched anything yet. It's a very huge market. You know, I know for a fact that there's, I mean, what you guys have penetrated is probably less than 1% of that market in terms of how far you can go. So what are the opportunities that you're already seeing, you know, opportunities that you're seeing in this space that you would love to share?
So you're absolutely right, Afo. I think the opportunity is much larger. We are still at an early stage. The good parts or the opportunities we are seeing for scale up is today we see a lot of players who didn't understand the model. Once we have proven the model, instead of us reaching out to them, they are reaching out to us. So there are logistics partners who approach us. There are warehousing partners who approach us. There are manufacturing partners who now don't end up building their own team. They focus on manufacturing and they reach out to us for distribution. And I think this has made a great play. There are players in other categories who feel they can reach out to us. So players from pharma are reaching out to us. Players from cold storage are reaching out to us. So I think the opportunity is opening up. We now see more categories can be explored through the same distribution channel. And I think the market becomes bigger and bigger. Like you said, we're still at the early stage.
So from Ikorodu, where I come from, right? You know, I think one of the reason why I'm so connected with you was because your dad worked with Lucky Fiber, right? And interestingly, back in the days, I also have one Lucky Fiber man that stayed in my dad's house, right? It was actually rented from my dad by Lucky Fiber, you know. So I have that special connection with Deepankar, particularly because of your Lucky Fiber background. So talking about Ikorodu, I have so many retailers that I'm responsible for by virtue of my roots. Right? So how can I bring these retailers on Omni Retail? Like, what do I need to do? So this retailer knows that I know Deepankar now, and they need information on how to come on board and use your platform, access to credit. What's the registration process?
Oh, it's very simple. They just need to go on, if they use an Android phone or an iOS phone, they just need to go online, search for the Omnibiz app, register themselves, and they see the products available straight away. The registration is detailed because we need to understand who the retailer is. He needs to provide his BVN there. He needs to provide and verify his phone number. Once that is done, he is on the move. There will be someone from our team who will visit us in the next 3 days time to verify the business. And then once he is verified, he will have more access to working capital and payments. That's how simple it is. So he just can either go on Omnibiz website or go and download the app from the web.
Is it fair to say that Omnibiz is VConnect on steroids?
Omnibiz is VConnect on focus. So what I would say is Connect was a large number of services. You could get plumber, carpenter, but here it is only your neighborhood retailers and it's only transactions around products. So there are learnings that are common, but a very different category and a very fast rotating business. So Omnibiz is the next level of VConnect.
Yeah, VConnect then, you were kind of focused on artisan service providers and, unlike retail business that is product dependent, it already exists. They just need an enabler. So combining the VConnect experience was very thoughtful of you. I'm super impressed. So for wholesaler, right? I have a space, a big space. Okay, how do I become an wholesale partner of VConnect? I'm sorry, of Omnibiz. I keep saying VConnect.
Yeah. So the product that we have for wholesalers is called Amplify, MPLIFY. This product connects them to a little over 65 different manufacturers and 600 different brands at a single connect. They can buy products on wholesale in their phones, through their phones, get the prices, get credit to buy those products. So just go to amplify.com and get access to these products, or amplify.ng and get access to these products.
Yeah, I think so. My assumption with the way your wholesale partner works is, so being your wholesale partner would simply mean that the retailers are picking up from me, like I'm doing the last mile delivery of those products to Omnibiz pool of retailers. Is that how it works?
The wholesaler does two things. Wholesaler can now buy products from the manufacturer at better prices, and wholesaler can now sell products to Omnibiz network of retailers.
Network of retailers. Okay. All right. So it's actually on both ends. Like, awesome. Yes. So that's interesting. So on the financial side, Omnibiz is not the one doing the funding, right? You're just like an enabler, right? You're not a bank, are you?
No, so we're not a bank. We are not providing any cash loans. We are providing the funds for the products that you keep, and it's backed by an algorithm. And we have financial service providers who are backing us. These are large financial service providers who are interested in providing debt to small businesses. And that's who we have partnered with to scale this. We're not a bank.
Okay. So you actually would back, I get what, so you do that for both the wholesaler and the retailer, or just the retailer?
For both.
For both. Okay, so if so what would be the size of my business to be an wholesale partner for me to have access to that same type of credit backing from you?
Yeah, so for a wholesaler, average size of a business would be between 2 to 5 million naira per transaction. And for a retailer, the average size per transaction would be 2 to 500,000 naira.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I honestly want to get a lot of people empowered by the information is power. A lot of people don't even have this information.
Absolutely, like, you're right.
You have the space, you have the money, like you have a 5 million that can work for you. Let me plug you to Omnibiz. At least I can have a peace of mind and you won't be knocking on my door for support. Now, we've talked about what Omnibiz is today. Where do you see Omnibiz in future? What future does Omnibiz, the future, what does it look like for Omnibiz, particularly in the age of AI?
So I think over a larger, let's say, next 3 years time, we see us being in a position to service these retailers without them having to come online to place the orders. We will understand trends by areas. what sells in what quantities in which area, and we would be able to fulfill their demand. So basically on Monday, we would send milk and oil and rice. On Tuesday, we would sell snacks and biscuits and noodles and pasta on Wednesday. So it's going to be very organized. So you continue to replenish your products even before you are stock out. And like you said, we are still scratching the surface. There is a huge market. There are a large number of products we don't do today. Commodities, agri products, but globally in the retail outlet, you don't have to go to multiple outlets. When you go into, as a household, if you go into an outlet, you will get your egg, your bread, your noodles, your pasta, your flour, your beans, everything in one store. And I think our bigger term objective is we would have retail partners who would be one-stop solution for the consumers. And we would be covering these retail partners across the country so we can contribute significantly to distributing efficiently in Nigeria.
Okay, so we have Omnibiz, we have
Amplify.
we have Amplify. Now, so looking at your business model, can you explain the difference between what you do, what Konga is doing, and what Jumia is doing?
Yeah, so what Konga and Jumia are focused on is B2C. So they are basically generating consumer orders and then fulfilling consumer orders. We don't do any consumer deliveries. So if you are sitting in the house and ordering for 1 carton of Milo, we won't be in a position to deliver to you. Our average orders are larger because we fulfill the orders to the retailers only, or to hotel restaurants and cafes, Horeca, or to bakeries. We don't go to consumers to fulfill their orders. That's the major difference between them and us.
Don't you see the possibility of them? I mean, because now that you are everywhere, the fastest growing business in Africa, Jumia and Konga will come for you. You don't think so?
Yeah, I think Jumia and Konga will come for us in the space. But I think it requires a very different mindset and a different distribution infrastructure to service B2B demand. If you come from consumer mindset and you want to service B2B demand, it can be really interesting.
So you are ready for them when they come. You are ready for them when they come.
Yes, very ready.
I mean, I know my guy, the banker, would always deliver. So today, like, you're running with a team of how many?
So today we have a total team of 600 people, 100 people on board working with us, and 500 people indirectly working with our partners.
Oh, wow, so you are a major employer of labor.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. That's a lot. And where do you see? So at the beginning you talked about something that I think every entrepreneur must take very seriously. You said when you're scaling is not just going to be about getting big for the sake of being big. That scaling is also important to what exactly are you offering and what is the scaling about? And most importantly is how do you also scale human resources? Yeah. So I want you to now apply that to yourself. Now, where do you see your human resources going in the next few years?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that I think about before going to sleep every night. In the next 3 years, based on our growth plans, we would be employing directly and indirectly over 2,000 people. Wow. And that is a lot of effort in training people, in providing them the right knowledge set, basic skills, in growing and achieving their responsibility. And it's not a one-day thing. You have to build the pipeline. You have to start onboarding. It takes time for each one of them to take their responsibility. So growing people is the most difficult part of our job.
Wow. Honestly, Deepankar, this has really been an eye-opener for me. Eye-opener in the sense that I'm seeing how technology is also addressing supply chain issues that everybody talks about. But you actually can solve this problem by just taking a piece of it, knowing how to solve it. So for example, now Deepankar got a financial backer for credit. I'm going to do the verification. So Deepankar, when it comes to ID management, that's part of what I do, right? So we can also have that conversation online in terms of managing ID of your retailers or whoever you need to verify their ID for all to also be in that value chain. So I love the fact that you saw a problem and you identify how to solve it. Starting business is about identifying problem and knowing what exactly you need to solve. And that's what my friend Deepankar has done. That's extraordinary. Now, so finally, this is going to be for you, Deepankar. Your advice for startups. You know, we have so many entrepreneurs in Nigeria. The energy is there. People want to solve problems. They want to get things done, right? You already shared some, but I still need you to share more freely for people to learn from you.
No, thank you, Afo. I'm sure all the questions you've asked and all the different podcast videos that you do share a lot of information. But I think one thing I would say from my journey I've learned is two important things every entrepreneur needs to work on is focus and perseverance. If you are focused on solving one problem, if you're focused on solving one one problem for a customer type, and you do it over a period of time with the right perseverance, with the right mindset, you will get the right solution. Don't give up too early, and you will have success.
Yes, perseverance, focus, commitment. Be mindful of the type of funding you are looking for. Why should you go for equity in dollars when your expenses are in naira, right? Why not go for funding by just getting what's it called, credit to address some of those issues? These are some of the interesting things that we've gotten from Deepankar. Deepankar, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned to you that this Tech Talk with AFO is primarily to promote IT, to get more people into IT in Nigeria, especially beyond Africa as well. When we talk about IT, the first thing that comes to people's mind will be US. When you move from US, you're talking about China and India. In my previous show, I was so furious and jealous about the fact that India has dominated the tech space. Go to Silicon Valley. Who is the CEO of Microsoft? An Indian guy. YouTube, Indian. Google, Indian. And I'm like, can we also get more Nigerians in this space? And the only way you can do that is getting more people in tech. 7% of 15 to 25 years that have access to ICT is not a good record. We need to bridge that gap. And that's what I'm committing myself to. So, Deepankar, I don't know if you have, I believe, of course, you have your CSR project, things that you're doing already, okay? But of course, I want to solicit how you can also support what we're doing, right? We want to, get more laptops to kids less privileged kids, get more laptops to them. I'm starting an IT Launchpad program where we are bringing kids together from SS3. You know, when they are done with their SS3, that period of completing SS3 and getting admission into university is where the bad mindset sets in. So I want to make a tech actor out of them, or instead of them becoming tech zombies and becoming a Yahoo guy, right? So for example, from the month of July, I'll be training 100 kids IT fundamentals, right? I want them in a space of 6 months to start coding before they are ready for school, right? Globalcom is supporting me with internet. You know, these are some of the things I do. I would appreciate your support in any shape or form. We can discuss that offline. So the session has really been very interesting. Deepankar is worthy of celebration as a tech fan. A round of applause for Deepankar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. I'm impressed. It again confirms that opportunity is in Nigeria. It is just for you to open your eyes, and that opportunity will be there for you to tap from. Thank you for your time. Thank you for accepting to have this conversation with me on a very short notice. Like I said in my
anything for you.
Deepankar, is good to have multi-millionaire friends in dollars. You know, all my tech actors now, I'm talking to them. There's no way when Deepankar becomes Richard Branson of Africa, there's no way you can deny me. I have you on camera. Everybody knows. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week, and thank you for being who you are.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you, Afo. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you.
brother.